Yeah, my brother, Nicoh David's here.
Hi,
Nicoh. Nicoh, to just talk about a wonderful organization called Disciple Peace, where he's advocating peace through the power of recycling throughout the nation and breaking records while he's doing it.
Good evening, everyone. How are you all doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Yeah, my name is Nicholas David. My young assistant for the evening, my little me. And I want him to also be a part of this experience because I feel it's important to mentor, to teach, to not only do it, but also grab somebody else's hands and bring them along with you. And I think that's going to be something for you all as you proceed forward in your career in marketing and advertising. Have you all decided which specific niche you all want to focus on, or more or less for the most part? Yeah? That's good. That's good. Agency side stuff? Yeah? Okay, good. You guys are going to be important as well to the sales side of this process, whatever product, brand, or service that you all are working on. So as Ramon said, thank you very much, Ramon, for even inviting me out to be able to share with you all. My background started in entertainment, actually. I know Ramon from Atlanta, Georgia. He was a hungry college student at Morehouse. I just got our first bit of startup money for a project called BigOneCity.com. What BigOneCity.com was a program that worked with the city of Atlanta, a lot of the radio record labels that were in the city of Atlanta. It's a big music hub. Social Deaf, Disturbing the Peace, these type of labels. We would partner with them and help get feedback on the new singles they were about to launch. All right? So this initiative was something that was new. It was right when MySpace was actually on the downspin. Facebook was on an uptick. So we created an initiative, incentive-based reward system that would connect the labels to their target audience in the form of incentivized opportunities to attend backstage concerts, things of that nature. All around this time is when I come across these gentlemen while we're on the campus of AUC, Razor and Streets. Actually, that's what they were known as back in the day. Two young guys. Streets is now in the political realm right now, networking with captains of industry. Porsche, I think he was at the Porsche launch for the Porsche manufacturing company facility in Atlanta now. So to see these guys' growth is amazing. But I just got a first round of funding for this project. And here I am, I'm only 24 at the time, so this is something I'm living my dreams. I'm working with city government, I'm working with major artists. I'm out here influencing and affecting people's lives. Fast forward about 10 years. Through all relationships and projects we've worked on and developed, I wound up being tapped to launch a single malt scotch program here in Chicago. It's called Oxentosh Single Malt Scotch. Now, I don't know if anybody here drinks. I'm not a big drinker myself, but the resources that flow in that industry are amazing. And so next thing I know, it started off as a small project. It was only about $50,000 allocated to it. We did so well here in the city of Chicago, we grew it to a national program, eventually creating a social excellence platform that recognized community influencers and leaders, not only here in Chicago, but across the nation. Did so well with that program, they flew me to Scotland. I was the only brother in Scotland. I know you guys heard that song by Kanye and Jay-Z. I wanted to do a remix called Brothers in Scotland. I keep it clean for the camera because my son is there. It's an amazing experience. Here I am, a young guy in Glasgow, in Edinburgh, Scotland, behind liquor, behind single malt scotch, and I'm thinking like, wow, this is the epitome. I'm like getting to the top of the food chain here. I'm loving this. But somewhere along the line, my conscience kicked in. I heard a voice at one of the, don't think I'm crazy, guys, because I know you all hear voices too at times. Those inner voices of creativity that tell you which way you need to go, what you're supposed to be doing. And I hear one in my ear telling me that if you continue this path, if you continue this route, you won't continue to be blessed. And I'm like, what is that? Did somebody just sneak up behind me and tell me something that I'm just not paying attention to right now? That brings me to this thing about scotch. But eventually my spirit kept compelling me. Hey, you can't keep doing this. I'm not a big drinker anyway. Okay? And so I quickly had to make a decision. It was a moral decision. It's about your moral compass. And this all has a purpose, the reason I'm telling you all this. So I appreciate you all sticking with me on this story. So that's it. I can't continue to distribute liquor. I'm flying all over the world. I'm meeting everybody I could possibly ever want to meet. Everybody's calling me. I got NBA athletes calling me to come out and support them doing their fundraisers. I have, all walks of like city government officials. Any and everybody you could ever think of. You'll all be working with them as well. You'll be working with them as well. And so when I made that decision to walk away from the industry, I said, well, what am I going to do? How am I going to transition out of this particular career path? And so at the same time I'm trying to figure this all out, I'm in California. I meet two gentlemen riding around the world on their bikes. These gentlemen have ridden from Germany. We're in Southern California. This is on Venice Beach now. Imagine it's like as if it's a movie. And it's a slow fall rolling in off of the beach. The dust, the sun is setting in the west. And these guys come out of a fog with bikes that are fully loaded. Now, I'm not a cyclist at the time, so I don't know what this is. So I immediately walk up and say, hey, what are you guys doing? And I've never been afraid to ask a question or engage in something I didn't know. Only stupid question is one I'm asked. And so they say, well, we're traveling around the world on our bikes. I'm like, what? Who does this? You guys off the chain. You're a little mental, but I loved it. And so they tell me the reason they're doing it is to find themselves. I was so touched and inspired, I immediately come back to Chicago, purchased a bike, got a Trek bike for about $1,000. I parked my car and I started training for 30 days. Now, I didn't know I was training at the time. I just thought I was just, exercising. But then I realized that, you know what, if I'm trying to walk away from this industry, if I need to see what I'm made of, because it's an act of courage. To leave something that you're comfortable doing, to leave something that you've been well compensated with, to follow that inner voice that you hear within yourself so clearly that sometimes when you tell others that you heard, they might look at you as if you're off your rocker. That takes courage, first and foremost. You all are here because you have exercised a bit of courage in following your vision, the inner voice you've heard, or that vision that you had. This is how the spirits communicate with us. Don't be confused. The advertising industry deals with the spirit. You're actively making an impression on the subconscious of all those who you seek to touch with your message or campaign. Right? So, as I'm prepping for this trek, unbeknownst to myself, I realized, wow, and I kept a journal on all of this. I started keeping a journal day by day just to kind of track my progress. I started out riding like 2 miles a day, breathing heavily, not knowing if I'm going to make it because my legs feel so sore, to being able to ride 30 miles a day throughout the city. Eventually, my main goal was to ride from Hyde Park to Evanston and back and do it within a certain time frame. I got so excited, I started feeling myself, my energy levels were increasing, my clarity of vision, my ability to focus was increasing. My capacity to deal with multiple things was increasing and expanding. I was actually becoming like even more tuned up, so I needed a new challenge. So I go to YouTube University, and I start looking and studying and figuring out how do I do a cross-country trek. Right. I said, so let me set, because I need goals, I need something big. So we set out, I set out on studying the route to get from Chicago to Atlanta, because that's where my son lives, right? Nicoh lives in Atlanta. So I said, okay, so as I'm training, I've left the liquor industry, I'm now a teacher. Okay, so I'm teaching 6th, 7th, and 8th graders social media responsibility. I've taken the things that I've learned in all my years of marketing and advertising and chose to teach our young people how to handle themselves responsibly on the internet. So we created a social media responsibility program that teaches children how to navigate, how to articulate themselves online, how to be aware of predators, how to be cognizant of the advertisement that you all will be creating, and how to interpret it properly and responsibly, and how emotion affects and drives their interaction not only amongst themselves, but their online and offline relationships, because we've been seeing a lot of cyberbullying. So I incorporate them into the entire thing. I want to show these young people who are on the south side of Chicago that everybody says aren't about anything, don't have the ability to accomplish anything, or are suffering from PTSD because of the amount of violence that they're going through, that they can accomplish something that's bigger than themselves. So for the next 2 weeks, I have them engaged in this whole experience that I'm going through. I tapped into a young intern who I've met at SAIC, Khalid Johnson, to begin doing what he's doing right now. And we chronicle this entire experience. And 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, because school lets out for Thanksgiving break, we launch out. I got my bike, I'm fully loaded. I don't know what the heck I'm about to do right now, But I'm about to ride out on Lakeshore Drive based on the map that we found. And I ride literally from Chicago to Atlanta over a period of 12 days at 740 miles on the open road. And I was so motivated when I ride. I'm talking about riding on back roads. I'm talking about riding through roads that have no lights. I'm talking about camping on the side of the road and getting to know myself, getting to see what I'm truly made of, wondering halfway through, what the heck am I out here doing? But I'm so far out, I can't go back. You know what I mean? There is no going back at this point. I'm committed. I've let people know. I got a broadcast going on Facebook. I got people encouraging me. I'm seeing people send me messages like, wow, you're waking me up. You're encouraging me. This is a story of inspiration because it's dedicated to all of the young people that we constantly lose in the streets, not only here in Chicago, but across the globe, the senseless acts of ignorance. And so out of that, the culminating piece was creating a cycle of peace. I found that this trek, riding 100 miles a day, somewhere around 70 to 80, but 100 was the goal, right? Allowed me to cover the distance, allowed me to be able to rest, allowed me to be able to network with people who I would come across or come into contact with in cities that I would ride through back-town rural neighborhoods that would just really affect and impact these people. And as I was impacting them with the journey, and the reason I was completing this journey caused me to even find more about myself than I thought I knew. I thought it was all about turning up. I thought it was about producing red carpet events. I thought it was about having all the influential people in the city attend your event. Then I realized it wasn't. I realized it was about people who I've never met before, but somehow that there was a connection between them and I. I found out that each town that I passed through, everybody would ask the same question. Everybody asked, anybody tell me what they think that question was?
What you doing?
Are you on drugs?
No. No.
Why are you doing
No. One more.
it? Where are you going?
No, how are you getting back?
How are you getting? Oh, I just wrote
Everybody
that
consistently
down.
asks this, are you cycling back? Everybody asks the same question. And it started showing me that we are all more connected. It would be from the backwood farmer to the person who was just on, looked like they might have been on some type of substance. You know? They all asked that same question. It started helping me connect all the dots to the fact that we are all truly connected. You might have different exteriors, but at the subconscious, at the spiritual level, which is the level that you all are truly dealing with, your imagery, your message, your content, the content of your message is going to impact someone at a spiritual level. They oftentimes talk about evoking emotions in the advertisement. Who can tell me what the etymology of the word emotion? What is emotion?
It's a feeling that takes over you, takes over your mental or physical or however you choose to respond to that feeling.
It's a good dictionary definition. I like it. Anybody else have a perspective on emotion? Well,
Something you don't have control over.
a lot of people don't, unfortunately. The etymology of the word is energy in motion. Your emotions are energy, the literal energy that you are manifesting on a daily basis when you wake up and breathe, when you wake up and move, when you wake up and think. Those are energy actions in motion. And when you provoke those with the messages that you are creating, you are obligated to be responsible around that. And so that's what I was realizing that I was touching. I was literally touching the ether. It's a bandwidth that exists across all space and time. And I was out there cycling in it. I would see birds flying over me that would follow me for miles just looking down over me. I would see the shadows because the eagles would fly so high up. I was like, man, this is something I never thought of. I saw horses stand up and just look at me as if I was some kind of strange animal as I rode by. Fast forward to the end of the trek, and I arrived on Thanksgiving Day, and my son is there to greet me, yeah? Remember that? And that was one of the best feelings I could have ever had. I was so excited I had to do another trek. So because I realized when I went to Miami to celebrate, that the US 41 route that I took actually stops in Miami, South Beach. So I'm on South Beach and, you know, hey, yeah, we did it. And I'm like, hold on, man, this is US 41. I didn't finish my trek. So I flew back into Atlanta from Chicago, put my bike back together, we hit US 41, and again, I did this solo. I did the first trek solo, I did the second trek solo, which I didn't find out until after was a master level accomplishment. Now, when I'm trekking, I trekked to Atlanta to Miami in 7 days. I wanted to have a time frame on it so I could test myself. That opened me up even more so to the possibilities because the same thing that happened on the first trek happened on the second. People I would meet would ask me the same things, same energies, same dynamic and connection I was feeling when I was out there breathing, getting out of the city's rhythm and cage. When you get back out to nature, you get open, you get relaxed, it opens you up. I was so turned up from that second experience. On the anniversary of the first experience, I wanted to celebrate it. So I celebrated by setting a world record for longest marathon static cycle. I sat on a bike for 2 weeks spinning at 12 miles an hour. This record was set in 2012. And so I went through the record books, and found a challenge I wanted to take on, and I took on that challenge. I had a team of people that helped feed me, because I couldn't get off the bike for a certain amount of time. I had people logging in from around the world, checking in with me. I had a family fly over from Germany after it was completed to have dinner with me. And so when you see the type of impact you'll have on people's lives through your physical actions, through your creativity, through the ad campaigns that you're making or creating for the brands, products, or services that you're dealing with, you've got to be responsible. And so this most recent trip, that great to celebrate the trek that we took from Atlanta to Miami, which we did during Black History Month, which I did as an honor and celebration of the ancestors who had preceded us. Myself and two other young men who I recruited for this one because I didn't want to just do it solo this time. I wanted to take others with me. So I found two young men. One's name is Emmanuel Alabella, and the second gentleman whose name is Ajubike Akun. He's in Ghana right now working on developing a cycling initiative for us in Ghana right now. So I've seen this initiative grow from me learning how to ride a bike from Hyde Park to Evanston to having contacts in Ghana right now, working on developing a community or village initiative to help the villagers learn how to cycle and the power of cycling and the meditative art form of it. So if you'll see here, you'll see that myself and these two gentlemen trekked to Washington, D.C. This is us cycling through the mountains of Pennsylvania. And this is just an example. These are the type of mountains that we were climbing. These two guys couldn't make it. These are the type of mountains we were climbing on the trek. This is from Chicago to Washington, D.C.
How many miles is that?
900.
Maybe on the side of the road. How many days did it take you to get there?
It took us, we left we left September the 28th. We arrived in Washington for the 20th anniversary of the Million Man March. So we arrived October the 10th. Actually, October the 9th. And so those type of hills, when we hit Pennsylvania, we were climbing the whole way. We were going through nothing but mountains. We were in the Appalachians at that point. And that was a specific clip that dealt with, because these guys, they trained with me a little bit, off and on. But I kept telling them, you gotta keep up your training, gentlemen. We're gonna be doing some real riding. I'm not gonna stop. And that hill was an example of how you have to approach life challenges. I didn't stop. And so they recorded. I didn't even know they were recording. But you get into a zone. You have to get into your zone. You have to find that space that exists within yourself that synergizes your mind, body, and soul. It's literally it's unleashing all of your preternatural energy, all the things that preceded you even coming into this space of existence. Your physical presence. Who could tell me what person means? Your person. Anybody have an idea? The etymology of person.
Is it just your inner self, like a subconscious type thing?
I like it. Keep doing your studying. I like that. Keep working. I like it. Close, but no cigar. The specific.
Mind, body, and soul.
Close, but no cigar. Almost there. Yeah, almost there.
The soul kind of embracing the ego.
Close. Very close. Your person is the reverberation, it means through sound. Per being through, song is an abbreviation of sonic. So your person is through sound, which means this is how you will create. This is how you project yourselves, correct? When we speak to one another, what do? We speak to one another, right? We translate our concepts and ideas through our vocal cords. This is when you have presentations with your clients, they'll be speaking with you, right? When you're presenting the idea that you have crafted for that particular client, you'll be speaking to them, correct? I'm transmitting my ideas and my passage to you all through sound. So when we speak about your person, it comes through sound. So the purpose is learning how to tap into your original core in order to reverberate the proper words of power, right? And to use your physical form as a creative metaphysical device. That is what we are all here to do, is to create. You all have chosen a very noble industry. This craft that you all are about to enter into is going to have the ability to affect people who you've never met before. You'll see people, you'll be passing through an airport, you'll be talking to your friends or family, and they'll say they saw a commercial that moved them to tears, and you'll know you had something to do with that campaign, right? You have to understand the responsibility behind that. That clip I showed you was an example of what happens when you get into that zone that allows you to control your person at a certain level. Because my colleagues, my teammates didn't necessarily prepare as much as they could have, they had to walk it, and that's okay. They got that far, and I had to tell them that was okay. But because I had done the work I needed to, I literally transformed myself and got into a space where I didn't even speak anymore for about 4 or 5 days on that track. I would just run. I would take and save all the energy I had and not even use it to articulate myself through words. How many of you all are artists and know what it's like to go into that space where you don't even want to talk? You just want to manifest through your art form, right? You have got to look at yourself like that. Every time, every day you wake up, you've got to tap into your inner chi. Your energy is your inner chi. You can tell me what the chi is.
It's the seven things in your body.
Yeah, close. Yes, what's that?
Isn't it just the 7 different things in your body, your chakras? Yeah, isn't that like Buddhism?
The inner,
Or doesn't that go to
third
Buddhism
eye,
though?
the throat, the heart, and the house.
Yeah.
Where I'm a little.
Well, your chakra points are literal points on your person that channel this chi. Your chi itself is your energy. It is the emotion that we give off.
And when it's in balance, then your energy just embraces out.
Exactly. From the
whatever-
core.
So whatever you breathe in love and happiness. And whenever you breathe it in, you have to breathe it out.
Exactly. There have been scientific studies done that show what you take in through your visual, through your sonic, affect your mental makeup, your mental state. You all will be affecting people's mental states. It is important that you know who you are and what you are creating and where that creation is truly coming from. If not, you have the potential to harm people through the creative capacity. Now, who can tell me what the abbreviations for Chicago are when you're flying? What does CHI sound like? Exactly. What is the Midwest considered? Or,
The heart of the nation.
do you understand what we're doing now, what we're dealing with here? We are dealing with the chi of the nation here. We are dealing, have you ever looked at the subway lines, the red and the blue line? What happens to your heart? How do they explain to us in science how the blood flows in our heart? We have what? Red and blue blood, right?
Blood cells.
Okay, so let me take it back to the basics. The blood comes into our heart deoxygenated, correct? What is that? Blue, correct? When it leaves out, it's red, right? Look at the loop, right? We have a blue line and a red line. Let's look and be clear about where we are. This portion of the Chicago River is a Y branch, correct? What are fallopian tubes of a woman? Y-shaped. You understand what we're talking about here, folks? This might seem like it's all mystery and, all this magical mystery things, but these things are actual. And you all are going to be a part of that creative faculty that helps translate your client's message as it relates to brands, products, and goods. It is essential that you understand who you are, why you're doing this, and the level of responsibility you have to make sure that you project the proper message. Does this make sense? Because there's going to be days, I guarantee, you won't want to do it. There's going to be days you wake up and say, "What? I just can't deal with these people's attitudes. These people's energy is just driving me crazy. I don't want to go into this client meeting. These people are jerks. They think just because they cut the check, they can talk to us any type of way." That's where you have to learn how to transform that energy that's literally attempting to repel you, take it and use it as fuel. And that's about finding your heart, taking that deoxygenated blood and oxygenating it within yourself. Does that make sense? Now, I'll pass information out about myself. I've also passed out a peace pledge. This is an initiative that we are sharing with the city of Chicago. I would ask if you all can log on to the website, discipleofpeace.org, and sign this virtually as well. We are seeking to create a social media responsibility curriculum in Chicago public schools and charter schools starting, and then from there we seek to spread this throughout the nation. The social media responsibility course deals with training our young people on how to approach and have a stronger perspective as it relates to interactive media. They understand how to process this information so they don't get caught up in cyberbullying and become victimized by the offline violence that is occurring based on this state of affairs. With that, I'd like to thank you all for allowing me to share my story. If you have any questions, I'd like to open the floor for any questions you all might have of me.
Are you still cycling?
Absolutely. In fact, I'm happy to say we just created a partnership with FFC here in Chicago. I'll be leading their sales and marketing initiatives to help bring more people into that facility that will be partnering with our initiative as well. We'll be going into the communities and seeking to create more healthy lifestyle initiatives for some of the underserved communities here in the city of Chicago. So I'm excited.
When you say that, what do you mean? Like, what type of things are you doing? Like specifically?
Oh, spin classes, these type of discussion groups where we come in and introduce the concept of what healthy lifestyle looks like, how it can affect you in a positive manner, how you can literally program yourself, because it's ultimately about going into a state of trance within yourself. When you learn when you find out where your center is, when you find out where your fire lies, when you find out what your true core is, nothing anybody does around you will affect you. You'll be able to literally look at somebody's drama and take a step outside of it and say, I know what this is. This does not affect me. In fact, I can take some power out of that and use it to fuel me as I continue on in my success. So these are the type of things that we're teaching so we can create more preventative opportunities around violence. You know, a lot of young people are functioning out of emotion. That's why I say be cognizant of that. And it goes back to the music industry, which is why I had to transition out of that, because I knew and started seeing how people were becoming emotionally impacted by the music they were listening to. So I had to find this course in order to be more responsible in my delivery of, you know, brands, products, and good. Any other questions?
I was gonna say, so how long you got?
A little bit longer.
I was gonna say, I know some guys can go make some comments right now, but kind of break this up so circles and then go to Nico's around. You guys can just chat.
I got a bunch of
Talk to them. Let's do it that way. Absolutely. But yeah, honestly, really appreciate you coming down.
Oh, thanks so much for allowing me to share.